What's good, good people? Let's talk. Hope y'all good out there. Hope y'all having a good week, man. We're gonna talk about some basic training real quick. Back to the basics. The changes that's to come, or the changes that's probably already taken place. Because they already changed the fitness test, but they're making a little bit more changes to the basic training. Hey, before we get started, I'd like you guys to click that like, share, and subscribe, man. HBO special. Help a brother out, man. Let me share my screen with you guys real quick. I like to know you guys' thoughts on this stuff. The shift follows substantial changes in the Army's physical training. While recruits may have to endure less screaming at boot camp, the new training has effectively made the fitness and marksmanship requirements for recruits more demanding. They really didn't say what those were, making it more demanding. They didn't specify on that. The loud and brutal drill sergeant was seen as a way to toughen up fresh recruits and prepare them for a harsh reality of war. From the jungles of Vietnam to post 9/11 battlefield in Afghanistan and Iraq. But that thinking is changing, and many in the service believe a less harsh approach may actually be more effective with recruits. The naysayers, who we were initially fighting against, don't believe this new way of doing things. Beeson said, gentler isn't the right way to do it. It's just dignity and respect. People desire structure, and we're trying to give it to them. We're just not being assholes when we're doing it. The idea is to build a bond of trust with new soldiers early on, which could result in them being more comfortable with bringing issues to their leaders. Tweaking how boot camp instructors do business could also help new privates better absorb the training, much of it dealing with safety issues ranging from proper handling of firearms to working out. And the revamp is driven partly by the Army's needs to appeal to Gen Z. Now, with all that, it's a lot more that's being said. I'm gonna leave a link in the description so you guys can go in there and check it out for yourself on the reading tip. But they should have just said that, hey, we're just trying to cater towards this generation. I'm not gonna sit here and say this is probably somebody out there. Yeah, this generation of kids is weak. They was probably saying that about my generation. Excuse me. I can't say I'm against it or for it. It's like one of those things that each kid learns on a different level. They learn different ways. Now, one person might take something in one way, and another person, you might have to be harsh with that individual so they can better understand what's going on. Now, do I believe that this is going to be a more favorable outcome from them being an outstanding soldier? No, I don't believe that, because you're always going to have a shitbag soldier somewhere, someone that just doesn't go with the lines of the standards of the military. Doesn't make them a bad soldier. I said shitbag soldier because that's what people actually call them, but doesn't make them a bad individual. They're just not fit for the Army standard. It's always going to be that person that doesn't understand certain things that's being put across to them. Dummying it down is not going to change any way of thinking of what's going on. Now, basic training to me was something that was put in place to give them a harsh reality of what's to come. That was a culture shock for me, because I thought basic and AIT was going to be like the standard. But when I got to my unit, I learned that change. This actually became like, hey, this is a 9 to 5. We actually do more hours than 9 to 5, but nobody's yelling down your neck. This is just base. They just trying to weed out the people, the weak. You can call them the weak, but the people that the military isn't for. I'm sorry for saying the weak, but I had to put that out there. But just to weed out those people that the military isn't for. Because the military is not for everybody. Waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning just to do physical training before you go to work is not for everyone. Everyone and dumbing things down is not going to change that. That's because you're trying to cater toward get more recruits in the military. It's not going to change a thing. So, like me personally, I can't sit back and say I'm either for or against it. Now, but what I want to know what you guys think. Like, especially getting out of the military. Does it prepare them for the harsh realities of the civilian sector? Because you get a kid coming fresh out of high school, they go in the military and they're being catered to a certain type of way. Veterans already have a problem coming out of the military, right? They are a lot of them, not all. So don't say I didn't have a problem when I came out. That's you're an exception to the rule. But a lot of veterans, because I do a piece on transition, I got a lot of, and I'm gonna start back doing it here soon. But a lot of veterans come out of the military with issues transitioning out. Now, do you think this group of soldiers will come out thinking that things supposed to go a particular type of way because of how things went with them in the military? For the most part, soldiers coming out when I was serving have a thing of purpose. Now, do you think these soldiers coming out of the military in the next 15, 20 years are going to think things are supposed to be handed to them or things are supposed to be dummied down in order for them to work for a particular company? Now, I got to think about that now. Think about it. Come on, Linda. There's got to be some things we got to think about when you take things away from a structure that's been in place so long. Now, you guys don't put hands on no. I think I said y'all don't put hands on nobody no more. So that was a big change that was needed. That was needed. I think more emphasis on leadership should be a huge thing. That part of leadership that, hey, we don't necessarily need you to go on policy all the time, but we need you to do what's right by the soldier. What's right by the soldier, taking care of the soldier, the needs of the soldier, learning how to train the soldier to do a particular job that he's trained to do. Leadership. But hey, man, I'm going to read this quote real quick. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not fighting the old, but on building the new. Socrates. Now, if it's really not broke, why would you fix it? If you have a system in place that's been working for so long, just because you need to get more recruits in, just you have to dummy it down. You have to dummy it down in order to meet a standard. Now, is that the standard? Bringing the standard down to meet a standard? I don't know. I'm asking a question. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Hey man, let's talk. I got some things coming up down the pipeline. You know, I'm about to start back interviewing people. Taking a little break, but we in it. We doing this. We making it. But I want to know what you guys think on this topic. What do you think they're taking away from the individual's character by them doing what they're doing? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that this is going to prepare them for the civilian sector? Not only that, I don't know if I threw it out there or not, but do you think this prepares the soldier for war? That's a question in itself. Like, Do you think, like in the mix of the battle, soldier has to bring his rifle from the low ready? Will he freeze? Will he sit back and say, I don't want to do this in the mix? Like, what type of danger would he put his platoon in? Not only his platoon, himself. Now, would this bring more mental to the soldier? Because before we was dealing with the whole PTSD and the trauma. Now, would these people be without the combat? Would that bring more psychological damage? Just a question. Psychological damage from what? From just being yelled at, or somebody telling them that they can't be yelled at. That being in place. And when somebody does it, they're just traumatized. Which is it happens a lot, especially nowadays. It happens a lot. You raise your voice at somebody, that strikes the nerves in the individual, and feelings get hurt. And that is something that's stuck in the core essence of them for a long time. With that, especially if they go to war. Hey, I just want to know what you guys think, man. Hey, vets, let's talk. Who's up next for formation?